glad you're here. Let's get into some things. I hope you're ready, cause this is what I do. It's all about different perspectives in here. Where you gon' get the real, no BS in here. We keep it real as we can. You can tell your truth and feel comfortable here. DeeDee's reactions, videos and live DeeDee's reactions. She's about to put on a show. These reactions, just to let you know, like, share, subscribe. We about to go live. It's DeeDee's reactions. Keep it real, keep it DeeDee's reactions. What you gon' do? DeeDee's reactions. We about to go live. Subscribe. We about to go live. It's DeeDee's reactions. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Welcome to the show. Everybody is Dee. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into some things. I hope you're ready, cause this is what I do. It's all about different perspectives in here. Where you gon' get the real, no BS in here. We keep it real as we can. You can tell your truth and feel comfortable here. DeeDee's reactions, videos and live DeeDee's reactions. She's about to put on a show. These reactions, just to let you know, like, share, subscribe. We about to go live. It's DeeDee's reactions. Keep it real, keep it DeeDee's reactions. What you gon' do? DeeDee's reactions. We about to go live. Subscribe. We about to go live. It's DeeDee's reactions. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Welcome to the show. Everybody is Dee. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into some things. I hope you're ready, cause this is what I do. It's all about different perspectives in here. Where you gon' get the real, no BS in here. We keep it real as we can. You can tell your truth and feel comfortable here. DeeDee's reactions, videos and live DeeDee's reactions. She's about to put on a show. These reactions, just to let you know, like, share, subscribe. We about to go live. It's DeeDee's reactions. Keep it real, keep it DeeDee's reactions. What you gon' do? DeeDee's reactions. We about to go live. Subscribe. We about to go live. It's DeeDee's reactions. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh.
What up, YouTube? It's your girl Dee. Welcome back to another live stream. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank y'all so much for being here. Shout out to everybody watching, everybody in the building. Thank y'all so much for being here. Listen, as you come into the building, make sure you hit the like button. Hit the like button, hit the like button, and definitely get ready to chime in the chat for this particular topic. Now, this topic is all over social media, y'all. It is the talk of the town. Everybody is covering this whole Somali fraud, welfare fraud situation. And I want to give my 2 cents on it, and I want to get y'all thoughts. So make sure you chime in the chat what you think about this. I hear a lot of people saying, hey, Black Americans, stay out of it. This is not our fight. I hear a lot of that, and I tend to hear a lot of that when we hear this immigration issues. We heard it with the Asians, the Mexicans, just about everybody, immigrants who have come into this country. When the ish hit the fan, a lot of people look towards Black folks to come out and speak out and, kind of chime in and give their thoughts. But in these cases, a lot of Black Americans, we tend to stay back because it's not our fight. But I definitely see what's happening. And as you guys, as I always say, listen, I am not political at all, but I see what's happening. And because I have a platform, I like to give my 2 cents on it, try to spread myself around a little bit and not just box myself into one thing, especially if it's something that I want to talk about. So that's what we're doing today. I want to just play a couple of clips, and I want to get your thoughts on this whole situation. Please chime in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button as you come into the building. That definitely helps out. All right. What's going on, Kennard, the DJ, UFO Kamikaze One? Thank y'all so much for being here. Shout out to you guys. Make sure you hit the like button as you come into the building. So I want to go ahead and start with this clip of something the president said, and this is, got a lot of these Somali immigrants, up in arms. They're mad about it because once again, a lot of them supported Trump, but now they don't like that he's deporting a lot of them because of a lot of the fraud and the scams that we see going on in this country of these people actually taking to the tune of billions of dollars from American taxpayers, and it's become a worldwide, basically, you know, scam and fraud that is, that everybody is talking about. So I want to go ahead and play this first clip, and I definitely chime in. I want to get your thoughts on it, but we're gonna go ahead and react to this. Here we go.
Can I ask you one more follow-up question, Mr. President?
The fraud that you've been pointing out, talking about in Minnesota specifically, there have been some reports resurfacing and circulating, even by your own administration, alleging Ilhan Omar's marriage to her brother. And this would be a fraudulent situation if there, in fact, is found to be fraud. In a situation like that, would you like to see her denaturalized, or others who have similarly committed fraud?
Well, I think she's very bad for our country. All she does is complain. She comes out of a country where they have no government, they have no military, they have no police, they got no nothing. They don't have a country, and they run around killing each other. And then she comes over here. She tells the United States of America how it should be run. We don't want to hear from her. I don't want to hear from her. I don't want to speak for Emmer, but I don't think Emmer particularly wants to hear. But don't say it because I don't want to get you in trouble, okay? Just be nice and easy, all right? I'll do it for you, but that part I'll do. But I just want to say that there's nothing worse than a person that comes in and does nothing but bitch and comes from a place where she shouldn't be telling us what to do. She shouldn't be telling us, and everybody agrees with me. And what's happening in Minnesota with Somalia, where billions of dollars is being stolen, right, like candy from a baby, we're not going to let that go on. And it's too great a state to have that happening. And guys like Tom Emmer and others, Pete Stauber, guys like them, they're going to stop it. And they're going to be given the authority to stop it. Because this country's not going to put up with it anymore.
I am currently asking for a ceasefire. I'm asking for a ceasefire between the Somalis and the African Americans. Please. We got something bigger going on right now. This is a divide and conquer situation happening in Minnesota. Y'all know we ride together when situations arise out here.
What situation? Okay, so there's this woman in the clip. She's gonna give her thoughts, but that's the same thing I was saying. What situation we riding together for? Come on now. What situation that you can think of where Black Americans and Somalis and Africans and Indians and Asians and Mexicans, where we all rode together? Like what? For what? All of the stuff that has gone on in this country that directly affected Black Americans. Where were all these people that all came out in droves and really supported us? That's the gag, and that's my opinion on it. My thoughts are always, listen, where were these people? When Black people and Black people are still getting hung up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to go too deep into that, but these things are still, occurring sporadically in this country. And I don't ever hear anybody come out and really speak up against the atrocities and the injustices that are still happening to Black Americans. But when the shit start hitting the fan for them, it's like, oh, where are you Black people? Why they don't call for the white people or anybody else? Oh, the Asians and the Indians and all the other people. Why they always call it for Black people? That's my question. That's what I always wonder. Why is it always Black people got to come to the rescue for these people who wouldn't even come to the rescue for us? And we know it's a fact because it's not like the stuff that's been happening to Black people has just started. You know what I'm saying? This country is rooted in hatred and racism and segregation and all type. It's not something new that, Black people have had to deal with these systemic issues for years and fought for the liberties that we have today. When these people have come, but once again, it's a deeper issue because I don't think that a lot of these people were, just came over here haphazardly. They were allowed to come into the country. They were allowed to advance the way they have advanced. And we speak about it all the time, how people from outside of the country can come in and get subsidies and get things to help benefit them and their people. You know what I'm saying? We watched the migrant situation just unfold and how a lot of these people were getting all these subsidies for the government to the tune of thousands of dollars that most American people couldn't even get. In fact, there were situations where a lot of American children were taken off of the Medicaid programs because they were giving it to these migrants who come into the country and they couldn't even afford to help their own citizens. So it's a bigger picture. It's a bigger issue that needs to change. There are a lot of people in this country who are struggling right now. We have a homeless population of people that don't have places to stay. They don't have a whole lot, a lot of resources for them. But a lot of these people that come into the country are looked at differently, and they can come in and gain access to things, and then they brag about it, and then look at us and say, "Oh, you're lazy, and y'all don't do this and do that." When we're not, given the same liberties that they are given to excel, which is crazy to me. And I don't, honestly, in my opinion, don't think it's a shock to the powers that be that this is happening, because they were allowed to be able to do it. How in the world Somalians could come into this country and amass and steal up to $1 billion without nobody noticing it, without nobody in government recognizing this? You know what I mean? So we know that this was allowed to happen, and this is why they feel so entitled to it, because it was allowed to happen, and they think that they're better because it was allowed for them to amass that amount of money and or steal that amount of money. And then they're talking about being, I saw a couple of videos where they're talking about being so blessed and so fortunate. No, because you were given certain liberties that even American citizens don't get. Black American citizens don't get. And so I'm just like, this is a bigger picture, in my opinion, y'all. And it's crazy. And I really think there needs to be a reckoning. Something has to change, because I personally, I think it's ridiculous that American citizens don't get the liberties that illegal immigrants can come over and get. That says a lot. Like, it's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me, y'all. And that's just my thoughts. But let's continue this video. Here we go.
George Floyd stuff. Here we go. Was out there. Ain't nobody was asking what type of black you was. We all felt that. So I just don't want this ignorant conversation to overshadow what's really happening. Don't give them the upper hand. Why are we acting slow? I'm asking for a ceasefire.
This is so ironic to see Somali people. This is like the second video I saw, first of all, of them referencing George Floyd. We were all together during George Floyd. First of all, everybody and their mother was outside. It was a national thing. Like, it was very clouded. It was very trendy. It was very trendy to be marching and saying Black Lives Matter. There were stores that would have Black Lives Matter signs in the window. A lot of people were standing in solidarity with Black Americans. And at the end of the day, if y'all claim y'all Black, then aren't you marching for yourself? Isn't Black Lives Matter for all of y'all?
Right, but goddamn, that's the only thing that you can pull out your ass. That's the only thing you can pull out. The Black Lives Matter thing. What about all of the other important things that's happened in this country as it relates to Black people? A lot of the unaliving of Black people that's been happening for years. Well, that's the only thing that y'all got. Black Lives Matter. And then that wasn't even in support of Black lives. The big fat lady that's in charge of that, isn't she being charged with some type of crime? Because and then there's her and the Ilhan Omar lady on the picture together, because they're both, allegedly, I'm gonna say, been stealing and thieving. Like, what that didn't even help Black people. That didn't do it. That none of that Black Lives Matter money went towards any of the victims in those cases. It didn't even help to get people out of jail who were protesting on behalf of all of this. The people who this was set up for did not even benefit from it, not one bit. They bought houses and they benefited and stole the money. So come on now, come on. That's all you can pull up, the Black. Oh, we supported y'all with Black Lives. Really? I didn't even see that, but I guess there were a few of them out there scattered around. I didn't know. And that's it. Let's continue.
You see how they separate? It's like they don't even realize that they're doing it. You're separating yourself from us by saying, we was there for you during George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Aren't you Black too? So wouldn't that also be your plight and your fight too? Wouldn't that also be you standing up for yourself and your community as well? It's because you always other yourself.
Yeah.
It's a subconscious thing because you do not see yourself as us. And that's okay. We finally said, okay, we're not the same. I could pull up 50 videos of Somalis saying, we're not black, we're Somali, and we're Arab. Y'all don't even say y'all African.
Right.
Y'all don't even say y'all African. Now all of a sudden, don't let the white man divide and conquer. Baby, y'all have already been divided. If you were not divided, then we probably, with the way the numbers, y'all keep talking about numbers and strength in numbers. If other melanated, deeply melanated groups of people that came here did what we actually thought, what our ancestors actually thought was going to happen, if they unified with us, we would literally be running this country.
I have a question for you. If there was a black community that had stolen over $1 billion from our federal government or our state government, what would happen to them? If people in Oak Cliff, Texas, which is made of mostly of minorities, black people and Hispanic people, what would happen to them? Do you think that anyone in our government would let them go for decades, stealing from Medicaid and Medicare to the level that we've seen Somalis do it in Minnesota? So for all of the people that are saying this is a racial situation, let me tell you what racism would have done to this. It is no way that they would have let communities steal millions of dollars and billions of dollars in programs that were meant for autistic children, or programs that were meant to feed people when they said they were feeding 3,000 people a day and they only saw 24. They would not have allowed this to happen if these people were regular Americans, if these were regular African Americans or regular Hispanic Americans. This would not have happened in our United States. But our Democrat Party wants you to believe that this is a racial situation because, that's what they do. Everything is based on race. But let me just say this, from this one black woman, I have seen people in Dallas and all over Texas go to jail for $35,000 in theft. But the thing that gets me the most about all of this fraud and corruption that's going on in Minnesota is the attitudes of the people involved. The people that live in all of these communities, these Somalis, are now threatening Americans. They're not even telling us that they're going to take over the United States.
So as soon as we find out who you are, trust you will be dealt with. Period.
You know what? Russia hasn't done that yet. China hasn't done that yet. You were brought here as refugees from a small country that had almost no money. But you want all Americans to be afraid of a community that has taken and stolen from U.S. taxpayers.
Don't call me you black, right? I'm not black. I'm Habesha. What's the difference? You're black. Listen, don't argue. We don't need the explanation. I'm Habesha. Actually, you are Negro.
That's great. You could be Habesha in Ethiopia now. They just ended the TPS for Ethiopians. They're giving them 2 months to self-deport from December to February. You could also use the CBP1 app. They'll give you a ticket to leave on your own and a couple of $100. You could buy all the raw meat in Ethiopia you want with that $1,000 that they're going to give you. Yeah, you're not black, you're not American, but you could be Habesha in Ethiopia.
Listen, isn't it? Let me know if I'm wrong. Don't they make up less than 1% of the population here? They're like a super small group, right? And they're talking about taking over. Like that was funny to me. And a lot of them have already been deported and self-deported already. But they're saying they're coming here to take over, And I want to speak to that whole, they say where are they again? Lord have mercy, I lost my train of thought. That place where they are, Minnesota. I'm sorry, I couldn't even. Minnesota was promised to them 3,000 years ago. Somebody spoke to that, and people are just laughing, saying this is ridiculous, this is insane. It's just the entitlement for me. Like y'all not even addressing, and I understand that they've arrested dozens and dozens of the people, the Somali individuals who were a part of this fraud. They've arrested them, indicted them. They're in jail. but they're not even addressing the issues of the scams. Why? Because a lot of them probably benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, you're not going to address something when you benefit from it. And it's just interesting how people come here from their, poverty-stricken countries, and they come here and then they find ways to scam and get to where they need to get, and with ease. It's funny, and people here can't even, like the lady said, you couldn't steal, black people at that couldn't steal to the tune of $1 billion without it going unnoticed. They wouldn't allow you to do it. This is why I say they were allowed to do that, in my opinion. There's no way it went unnoticed. It was just allowed to happen because the people involved benefited from it. Everybody got a piece of the pie, in my opinion. Blue Exodus, thank you for the super chat, says, it seems like since the delineation movement has grown, more foreigners are getting exposed. That is true. Also, I see DeeDee got the 2000s Alicia Keys hat on. Thank you. I hope you like it. Thank you, Blue Exodus. I appreciate you. Yeah, you know what, too? And I think, honestly, since Donald Trump has been in office, all of this has been exposed. Do you guys think that if Biden or Kamala was in office, that all of this would have been exposed? Let me know. I'm just saying, because I feel like none of this would have come to the light if Donald Trump wasn't, if the Democrats were in office. That's just my thoughts, because this is not something. It was happening while they were in office, so it's not like it's just happened. This was happening while they were in there. Thank you once again for the super chat. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Also support via super chat or cash app. You guys, make sure you are helping to support the channel in that way. Thank you once again. Yeah. I mean, I heard a lot of them are on that. Child, baby, let's continue.
Word on the street is that, like, not only are they, on top of the situation when it comes to Somalians and trying to get them out of here, they on Ethiopia's head too, and they trying to move them up out of here. I used to be one of those people that genuinely wanted to see Black Americans have a solidarity with our African diaspora brothers and sisters. I've always wanted that for us. See Black and brown people working side by side. Because a lot of people don't know is that at one point in this country, even after the Emancipation Proclamation, he was talking about sending those newly freed slaves away. He wanted to send them out of the country. And many eventually ended up being sent to places like Liberia, the West Indies. Oh yeah, a lot of you all who are from those countries, they're distant family members, because many of the people who were here at first, because I need you to know, like, they really built that shit up over there in Liberia. And of course, somehow, some way, same thing that happened to every other Black Wall Street across this country kind of happened to Liberia, systematically. So it's like, I always thought that we would all see that we all kind of have a common enemy. It's not even necessarily white people, because they're mixed up just like us. Because, I mean, truth be told, if you really want to know the truth from what I've seen, as far as the movies that I watch, the documentaries that I watch, this is not all of y'all. The European leadership out there, it's really kind of fucked up. It is. They even look different. Like, they I don't know. They look different. They got a different look to them. I don't know if it's the cold weather or what. Like, if you look at their, like, they have a different phenotype as American whites. And this is the truth. Fact of the matter is that we all have a common enemy, but we are focusing too much on the race of that common enemy, not on their status. Even when it comes to this whole deportation situation, a lot of us felt like y'all was in the way. I said this in my last video. A lot of y'all came over here with that mindset that, you know what, we don't want to fuck with Black Americans because we were told that they were untrustworthy, that they were thieves, that they were rapists, that they were baby mamas and baby daddies, and they were stupid. Y'all built y'all perception off of what you were told instead of really honestly getting to know us genuinely. This ain't everybody. The ones who know. Y'all built y'all perception off of what you were told because intuitively you were jealous of us. Intuitively you wish that you could have worked it like we worked it, despite what our ancestors went through and how hard they had it. Y'all ran, y'all stood, and y'all accepted. Back in the day, Black folks weren't accepting shit. You know how many slave revolts happened in this country? Y'all should have came over here and y'all should have played nice. Y'all didn't piss off the good white folk that we know about. Y'all pissed off the power structure white folks. They hit different. That's why y'all about to leave. So.
Hi everyone, I have an important update to share. DHS announced today, December 12, 2025, that they are terminating TPS, Temporary Protected Status, for Ethiopia. They state that the situation in Ethiopia has improved and no longer warrants this designation, and that people are able to go back safely. They're allowing 60 days, so starting from December 12, 2025 through February 13, 2026, for you to plan to leave and self-deport. They encourage that you use the CBP1 online system to get a free ticket and a bonus $1,000, and you'll have an opportunity to legally enter the US in the future. But if you overstay beyond February 13, 2026, you might be deported and placed under a permanent ban, meaning you will not be allowed to enter the US again. You'll be in violation of your status. Again, this is a new update. This is the information we have right now. If there is additional information, I'll be sure to share. This is not legal advice. It's public information. I advise that anyone who might be affected by this, if you need legal advice, to reach out to a licensed attorney. Please share this video.
I want to ask this question, and y'all let me know, enlighten me. Once again, y'all know I'm not into politics like that, but I find this very interesting when it comes to immigration and illegal immigrants in the country. I'm not for it. I think if you want to come here, you should come here the legal way. I don't think illegal immigrants in this country is helpful to the country in mass, like Jim just taking over, because look at the issues that we're seeing now. But I just always wonder, if something crazy happened here and we had to flee, where would we go? Who's going to accept us? So y'all think we'll be accepted in these other countries? Do you think that they're gonna? Where would we go? I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's interesting. You have people who are, have these temporary protective services where they can come here, and they abuse that. They end up, it's supposed to be a temporary thing, and they end up here for years and years and years, and then they become entitled to the place. It's like, hey, I've had my kids here, and I've, raised my families here. I'm woven into the fabric. I'm here, and even though you're not legal, you're just here because of a temporary situation, and then they turn it into overstay their visas, and you do all these things that I don't think we can do in other countries. You try to go to other places as Americans, you're not going to be able to just overstay your welcome there. And I wonder, why is it that we're so lenient with immigration and allowing people to just what? And some would say that it's for, allow these people to come and do this because they want their votes. We know in Minnesota is heavily populated by, Somalians, and that they, get the Democratic vote. Some people are saying that is the real reason behind it, for the votes. And what do y'all think? Do y'all think that that's the case? Because that could be the case, because I don't see any other real explanation as to why you would allow these people to take over Minnesota if it wasn't for you demanding their votes in exchange for what they have. Because you know what I mean? So I think that's a good argument, and that may be a part of it, because it's just crazy to me. You bring these people in because you want to sway their votes and get their votes, but not looking at the overall issues that it's going to create when it comes to American citizens and the people who are born here, the people who pay taxes here and pay into making this work. They don't, it's like, what is going on? The money that was stolen was taxpayers' money. And then you hear a lot of Somalis talking about, well, we pay taxes. Child, what is it that there's a video I posted? They don't even contribute enough. It's not even a major contribution to this country. The amount of them here is so far and few, even though, they're taking over one state or maybe a couple of others they're in, but they don't even contribute to the GDP. They don't even contribute in the way that they should. It doesn't. They're helping each other. They're contributing to each other. There are people who have spoken out and said that they can't get any, the things that they're creating it for their own people in this country. That I don't know, child. Let's continue.
With those who might be affected by this change.
The US needs to keep TPS status for Ethiopian nationals because they genuinely need it. And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons, yeah? Number one, In Ethiopia, they have multiple different insurgency groups actively operating within multiple regions. For example, in the Tigray region, in the Amhara region, in the Oromia region, they all have different insurgency militia groups actively fighting one another. Second reason, Ethiopia is known for having loads of humanitarian crises, whether that be droughts, food insecurity, or even displacement due to ongoing fighting and conflict. Returning Ethiopian nationals will be harmful for them and put them in immediate danger. Reason number 3, religious persecution. In the Amhara region specifically, Amhara Christians have claimed that they are being targeted and persecuted purely because of their religious belief. So if these claims are true, then that means that sending Christians back to Ethiopia could potentially put them at risk. And this is all made worse with the fact that the Ethiopian government does not have full control of the country and multiple different neighboring countries having conflicts. Now listen,
But why are we responsible for what's happening in other countries? Please, can somebody tell me? Why is it that the United States has to bear the burdens of what's happening in other countries? So when they screw up and they can't, they can't govern themselves and they having issues, why are we responsible? Why do taxpayers have to be responsible for taking care of people who belong to other countries? I'm just asking because listen, I don't know why do we have to take on it even when we're struggling, even when America is struggling? People are homeless here. There's a homelessness rate here. You see homeless children and mothers on the street can't afford to pay rent. Where is the support for them? Why isn't there a big, facility that can take in Americans when they're struggling? If they can't pay rent, you can feed them and clothe them. And I'm talking about on a mass scale. Why is it that we have the resources to take in foreigners and help them, but your own citizens are struggling like that? That's where I think, listen, if we are a country that is, rich, right? And everybody wants to come here because it's the land, supposedly the land of opportunity, and you can come here and you can excel because they can't do it in their own countries. But when the people who are in this country are struggling and wages are down and people can't afford things, what do they do? Where is the help for the citizens here? Well, how is it you have billions and billions of dollars that can go and help other people who don't pay into the people who pay into it don't get the majority of the help, but the ones who pay nothing into it get all of the help? Make that make sense. I remember not too long ago, there was a natural disaster. I forget, a storm. There was no FEMA money to help people. There was no money to help people rebuild. But where do y'all get all this other money? There should be money for natural disasters to support people in this country who pay into it. But there was nothing there. So how do they come up with all this money to give to all these foreigners? I don't, it just doesn't make sense to me, y'all. Let's continue.
I'm not here to blame the Ethiopian government. A lot of the problems that they're dealing with right now are decades old, and they've unfortunately been left in this situation. But that being said, it would not be safe for a lot of the Ethiopian nationals to get sent back to Ethiopia due to famine, war, drought, and instability. This is why they should still have access to temporary protective status.
The Somali community has been engaged in massive, endemic, systematic fraud against the American taxpayer for years. We're going to discover ultimately, and we are in the throes right now of a full-throated, all-hands-on-deck federal investigation, is that the scope, scale, size, and sheer magnitude of the fraud eclipses anybody's worst nightmare. Look, according to official government records, 90% of Somali households with children are on federal welfare. The real number is probably 100% because federal records always undercount. So you're talking about a population that has been imported into Minnesota in which virtually every single member of that population is receiving welfare from the federal government. This could very well end up, Laura, being the greatest financial fraud scandal in American history.
And so all of you people that have made comments about it's just racist, really, let me just tell you something. I don't care what race you are. If all of my cousins are stealing from me, I'm going to be mad at my cousins and I'm going to call the police on them.
If this video shows up on your For You page, it's for one reason and one reason only, okay? I know you're aware of the commotion that the Somalian community is facing right now, the racism that they're dealing with, the xenophobia, the rise in xenophobia that is being hurled in their direction in their community. And I'm here to remind you to mind your black ass business. Thank ya. For better explanation, the following comparisons is not for competition, but for education, okay? A quick little educational course on the crisis that is racism. You know, the same crisis that the Black Americans here have been screaming about for ages, forever, since the beginning of time. Racism that other members of the Black diaspora allowed to happen to Black Americans under the guise that they were a better version of Black Somalians. Trump called the Somalian community garbage. He said that Minnesota was letting in garbage. He said he didn't want them in his country, in this country. He stated that Somalian people are the main perpetrators of billions and billions of dollars in welfare fraud. All untrue and disgusting claims rooted in xenophobia and bigotry. But I can't trip too much over it. And you want to know why I can't trip over what he's saying about the Somalian people in the Somalian community? It's because I still remember what he said about the Haitian community, what he said about the Black American community. I remember that. Not just them, the Latinos, the Asians, the Middle Easterns. I remember the Muslims, the Arabs. I remember what he said about all of them. Earlier this year, Trump referred to the Black American community as thugs. He stated that their children, Black kids, were born criminals that needed to be locked up and put away. He called Black attorney districts rabid animals. He said that they were criminal suspects. He stated that they were unintelligent, had low IQs. That was literally Jasmine Crockett's rollout announcement and her telling everybody that she was running for Texas Senate. That's what he said. Mind you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. In 2015, Trump called Mexican people grapists. He said that they were criminals that were bringing in drugs illegally in this country. That's why he wanted the wall. In 2017, he reportedly stated that Nigerian people would never leave this country and go back to their huts. In 2017, he called North Korea an embarrassment to China. In 2017, he said that all Haitian people have AIDS. In 2018, he said that Haiti, El Salvador, the entire African continent, he referred to them as shithole countries during a White House meeting, okay? In 2019, the entire xenophobia towards the Asian community, calling it the China virus. You understand? The Kung Fu. In 2014, in October, he said that Puerto Rico was a literal floating island of garbage. That's what he said. The next month, he said that the Haitian migrants over here were eating people's pets. This is not a comparison of competition, but just to educate you that this has always been a problem. And the first people to experience it, the Black Americans in this country, have been trying to warn everybody, but nobody listened. And now it gives a whole new meaning, a personal meaning to that phrase. If you let them do it to me, they're going to do it to you. If you really believe that this is the year of revelation, if you really believe that this is a year of reality, if you really believe that this is the year where everybody is finally facing the truth, do not intervene. Do not defend. You can feel sympathy. You can feel empathy on the sidelines. Do not stick your neck in this fight. Do not do it.
So how about we have a restart, man? Black Americans and Black immigrants, we forget everything in the past. We sign a new contract. We put the disputes and all this stuff to the past and just have a fresh start. Respect each other, respect each other's cultures, work together where we can work together. Let's try to work on that. I'm ready for that.
Well, the thing is, man, it's going to have to start back in the homeland. It has to start there because a lot of people bring over the same tribalistic disposition that they had over there. They bring it over here and they look at us as just another tribal group. And that's not going to work. We've been upholding global Black unity, and we've been pretty much doing it by our damn selves. So it's time for these other groups to start standing on business over in the homeland, making sure some of that tribal nonsense has stopped, and then people can come to the table and say, hey, let's get out and, let's break bread.
This fear is, as Black Americans are delineating, and America as a country is doing the same thing. They're coming after us. Donald Trump got elected. Immigrants are scared. So now Black Americans are doing their own thing. At the time, we're hoping that they would be standing up for us, being part of our coalition. But
yeah, and that
right there is weird to me. It's like, once again, Black people, are looked at as the fools. Like we're the dummies. because we allow this. The same way they can come out every election year and say, oh, vote for us. You're not black if you don't vote for us, or you know what I mean? And just come out wanting our support when it's convenient. And you know, that's been happening for far too long. You know, they got us with the identity politics. Oh, you want a black person in here when a lot of these people did not identify as black. They could care less about our communities because they look like us. We just supposed to look over you know, everything else and just look at them because they look like us. Oh, you need to vote because they're black, because that's your best interest. Even if they're plans for us, or if there's no plan for us, there's no type of policies that they're trying to implement to benefit us. We just supposed to look at them and say, "Oh, you're black." They think we're dumb because once again, we've proven, you know, and it's not every single one of us, but the majority of us who are on the forefront, that we want to party, we want Juneteenth, we want to be recognized, you know, we want you to see us. We're not thinking about, well, some aren't thinking about policies. I thought it was a slap in the face, honestly. And once again, you guys, I am not political. So for the political people who are into this, please speak out. Sandra, hey, Sandra, thank you. And then Sandra says, now that they need us, it's a we want a fresh start. Exactly. You know, I think a lot of you guys could better expound on this, because once again, like I said, I have my thoughts on certain things. But trust me, I'm not deeply into politics, but I do see this narrative, and I do see that, hey, we're the people who only want to be. We need representation. We need to see ourselves. We need to feel good that we have representation, even if it's not the best, if it's not even working for us. The same way that statue was put up there, that big black woman looking like she was just coming from work at a hardware store and overweight, that's representation. We're supposed to be happy about that. Oh my God, let's take what we can get, as opposed to policies that would actually benefit us. And I want to say too, to me, I thought it was a slap in the face, and y'all let me know y'all thoughts, that they would pass an Asian hate crime bill, but there's not one, even, or what some would say, oh, there is one on the books, but where's the updated one that would say, hey, you can't just go and delete a black person just because, that the police can't go and just shoot you down just because, and it's okay. And then, you know, oh, everything is okay. You know, there's no real pushback or anything that was signal to say, hey, you just can't mistreat black people. I thought it was a slap in the face that they came up with. There was Biden, you know, they passed an Asian hate crime bill after telling us we're not black enough and we don't vote for you. I don't know, y'all. Let me know. Am I off? Let me know, because that's my thoughts. You know, whether you agree with them or not, that's just how I feel about it. I thought that was a slap in the face to black people, seen as the history that black people of this country, and then the things that black people had to endure and fight for. There's nothing, no updated, nothing on the books that's, you know, for a hate crime policy or law put into place that to say you can't just go and do this to black people. I you know, I'm just, that baffled me. But anyway, what do I know? And I just think it's very interesting. And I think this is the approach that everybody has. Hey, we could just use black people. We don't really like them, but let's just use them when we can. Let's you know, we could say we know black. We don't really identify. We could tell our kids, oh, don't go into that country. Stay away from the blacks. They're this, they're lazy, they're this, they're that. Go assemble to the white people. Go to the white people. And even when the white people do things that, you know, it's not beneficial to you, you still try not to blame them, but just blame us. Like we're the scapegoats for everything. And it's unfortunate. And then we're so bad. But then you have these other group of people who come over here and steal money to the tune of billions of dollars, something we could never get away with. And that's okay. We don't really be doing much. We're sitting back and we're watching everybody else get rich off of stealing and doing all this stuff while we sitting back just saying, hey, stop, you know, profiling us. Stop doing things when we're just trying to live our lives. When other people actually come into the country who are not from here and take all kinds of stuff. But we're like, it's just insane to me to watch it all unfold, you know. It's just, to watch it unfold, it's just kind of interesting to me and sad. And this is the approach that other people take. Oh, we thought you got, when we need you the most, the niggas gonna show up and just because they only care about identity politics, so they're not gonna pay attention to what's really going on. They're just gonna know, oh, they look like us. Oh, let's go run and jump and let's march and let's save the day. No, that's crazy. Look, and then with a smile on your face, like, oh, this what y'all do. So why aren't y'all doing it now? What's happening? Y'all waking up? Oh my God. Let's try to shame them and bring racism in and say they're doing it to black and brown people, and then that's going to trigger us. Because anything, when you say anything that's racist, oh, we jump up and get angry and mad and start trying to do something. Like, that's crazy. Anyway, y'all, let's continue.
That's the problem.
We don't know what to do now.
Yeah, because we told people, they kept telling us, well, you FBS don't work hard. You don't work. We came over with $2 and we were this, and y'all need to learn from us. It got real bad. And people got very arrogant, and even Jamaicans, they still do it. They still tell us, oh, don't come to Jamaica. Oh, don't do this. You are entitled. And y'all were telling us all of this stuff about how hard you worked and how lazy we were. And we said, okay, well, handle your business then. And now people don't like it.
And can I say something? Do you know, I think that's why a lot of immigrants are running for office. There's a lot of Somalis in Minnesota, the New York mayor, because I think they're scared now since that, the current political system in America, and maybe black Americans are not as supportive anymore. So they feel like they have to fight for themselves. They have to have a presence, or else it's over for immigrants here.
Yeah, and that ain't working because they ain't getting elected. A lot of them are not getting elected like that. It's like Winsome Sears, like your boy out there in Minnesota, Fatah, whatever his name is. He got washed, so it ain't really working out like they wanted to work out. So, hey man, it's cats should have really checked themselves with the disrespect.
Right. We need to stop this drama between African Americans and Somalis in the States, because I can see both of the arguments. Some Somalis might argue that this drama is being initiated by African Americans, that African Americans interjected themselves into this madness, which is Somali American citizens being attacked by their president simply because of their ethnicity. And many Somalis argued that it is because of their skin color. And this ticked off a lot of African Americans, because they said, oh, but didn't you say that you're not black? Well, if you're not black, then you can't ask for help because someone is attacking you because of your skin color and stuff like that. But one huge difference that we need to understand is that when Somalis say they are not black, they mean culturally, ethnically, they are not black. Or in other words, they don't identify with their skin color. But the rest of the world identifies them by their skin color. So a Somali can enter a store, and before he entered that store, he was a Somali, but the moment he entered that store clerk followed him around because he saw a teenage black boy. And that is what they mean when they are being targeted because they are black, because of their skin color. However, I also understand the other argument. Many African Americans have a negative view of the Somali community because they feel like they spew derogative terms against certain Africans, against other African people in the diaspora.
You know what? I think, and this is just my opinion, y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. I honestly am I'm going to just speak for myself. I was not raised around Somali Africans or any of that. I was raised around Black Americans and a few whites. They were not on our radar. I could pull up everybody that I would go talk to, everybody that I was raised with. We were not ever taught anything about Africans, and I'm just being honest. Growing up, we were not taught about Africans. The only Africans we saw were the ones on the TV with the children with the big stomachs, with the flies flying all around them. And I'm not trying to be funny. It's just the truth. That's my truth. That's what I experienced. We were not taught to hate Africans. We never were taught to anything about Somalis or anything like that. Now we learn about these people as we get older and, educate ourselves. But growing up, I'm saying, we were not taught to stay away from the Africans or stay away from the Somali. It was never a conversation. It was never a conversation whatsoever. They were not on our radar. Even as a young 20-year-old woman, that was not even ever a conversation that I've had with coworkers, people, whites and blacks. They were not talking about Somalians and Africans and none of that. We were talking about each other. It was blacks and whites. It was never an issue. Nobody was ever talking about immigrants and this and we were not. We were dealing with our issues amongst each other. It wasn't even a factor. And now y'all let me know if that was the same or is it just me? Because we didn't grow up with that. Even in my early 20s, when I worked in a few places that I did work in, young, nobody was talking about none of that. It was issues between white and black. Now there was conversations about, the white people this and the black people, but it was never, they were never on our radar. So I don't buy this idea that, we had a difficult time with them and we had a problem with them. No, it's just that when we see what's happening, we speak out on it. That's it. And it's not speaking in support of it. And I think that's their problem. So they're making this or creating this narrative like, black Americans have a problem. No, we didn't have no problem with nobody. Everybody has a problem with us. From my lens, everybody got a problem with us. We black people are the most inviting and most welcoming to other people that I've ever seen amongst any group of people. That's why we have that term, he's welcome to the cookout or she welcome to the cookout. We welcome everybody to the cookout if you rock with us. If you okay with us, we're okay with you. We have never had problems with other people. We could fit right into your culture and don't have no problem with it, but everybody seems to have a problem with Black Americans. And yes, we have issues in our communities and we have issues. Everybody does. It's not just us. But somehow everybody has a problem with us. We're the N-word. We're this, we're that. We're hated amongst every group. But somehow they're trying to flip it. Black Americans have a problem. We have never had no problems with people to the tune of going, harass people and mess with people. We don't have a history of that. And I feel like they just flipping it around, trying to once again project their feelings onto us. I didn't know about no Somalis. I mean, I ain't gonna even lie to you. They weren't on my radar. The first time a Somali was on my radar is when I saw that movie with Tom Hanks in it and the Somali guy in there who was up for a Oscar or whatever. And I don't know his name and stuff. And I like that movie with the pirates in it, with the Somali in that video. No Somali people weren't on my radar. I'm just saying. And I think for a lot of Black people that's just the case. We weren't worried about people and hating on people for what? We don't have time to do that. We got to try to figure out our lives and where we fit in this world because we've been the ones who've been hated on for years. So I just don't buy that narrative. And I think they're flipping it up and trying to make it seem like that. We don't bother nobody. And we've been 15% of the population for forever. We're not going around here stopping people from doing that. Everybody, we just noticed some things. And I think because Black people have been trying to just live their lives and not and try to find their place and just want equal treatment, we don't have time to be worried about somebody else. But when we start to see other people from outside of the country come in and get more than what we've been fighting for, then maybe we just look and we address it. We're not saying, we hate these people. We don't know these people to hate them like that. I didn't that invested. But I think, because Black people are saying, well, damn, we sitting over here just want equal rights and be treated fairly when there's still racism in this country towards us. There's still, people who hate us and don't want to give us equal opportunities. That still exists because we still see it happening. Where some banks don't even want to still give Black people loans or try to give them higher interest rates amongst their white counterparts. We still got to deal with racial injustices in this country. It still exists. In my opinion, because some people try to say, it doesn't exist. Yes, it does. And so why would we be focused on Somalis and Africans and all these other people who had never been a real concern to us? Yeah, Captain Phillips, right. Nobody was thinking about, and even when that happened, nobody was like, oh my God, he's a Somali, we hate him. No, we liked the movie. We didn't have a problem with nobody. But I just think it's once again a narrative that's being pushed to try to make it seem like, oh, black people got a problem with it. We never had no problem with nobody. We don't be having a problem with people. We mind our business, and we don't want to be treated as second class citizens. We don't want to be treated inappropriately. We don't want to, we don't want to be segregated against or disrespected because we're black. And then all these other people come in who don't want to identify with being black, but you get benefits based off of you being black. And you get more benefits than the black citizens of this country, which is crazy to me. I just think it's crazy. Hit the like button, you guys. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Let's see what we got here. So we got 82, we got 99 people in the building, 82 likes. Make sure y'all go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the like button, you guys. Yeah, so that's just my take on it. I want to play this because this was another video that I saw of something that we don't talk about as well. And we talk about the degeneracy in the black community and how women are black, some black women are in our communities and stuff like that, the single mother rates and all of that, how it's going through the roof. But I want to play this clip that O'Shea Duke Jackson played. Shout out to O'Shea. O'Shea posted this video, and I'm gonna play a little bit of it because I want to shed a little bit of light on this too. Because once again, we speak on what's happening in our culture because it's a part of us. I'm a black woman, so I'm going to talk about what's happening amongst black women and black men in our culture. But it doesn't mean that this degenerate behavior is only happening in our culture, because we know it is not. Every culture have the good and bad. Everybody has the good and bad of their culture. And I think it makes sense for them to speak on their issues, which a lot of times there are people who do, and point out what's going on with them, just like we, are at liberties to talk about what's happening within our culture and our group of people. So I want to play this because I thought this was interesting to share as well. And I want to get y'all thoughts on it. So make sure you chime in the chat. I want to hear what you have to say. Here we go.
I am a single mother. Here's one of them. I have 5 kids by Gerard. 5 kids, 5 different baby daddies.
A few days ago, I came across this clip of a particular religious service at a Somali American mosque. And they had a pretty interesting conversation going on.
Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. Damn!
These Somali Americans were talking about the fact that these black people they were encountering did not know their fathers, and that all of these black Americans were being born to single mothers. Now, on the surface level, this is a generalization, but it does have some truth to it. We do know that almost 80% of the births in the black community are being born to single women. This does not mean that the kids do not know their fathers. It just means that majority of these children are not being raised with their fathers. And so with somebody speaking like this, we would assume that the Somali American community would never have this problem.
Right.
Right?
Another crazy statistics, just in Minnesota, not anywhere in the world. I can just imagine the statistic in the world. Just within the metro area of Minnesota, there's about 30,000 single Somali mothers, single mothers, which is a ridiculous number.
Now, this was interesting because you had this guy that said that in Minnesota, or in Minneapolis rather, there are 30,000 Somali single mothers. And I thought that this could not be the case because, again, I live in Uganda and I see so many Somali people in Uganda and Kenya, and these communities are very tight. I never hear about, single moms being here at all. So that just can't be the case. So I thought that they were making this stuff up until I started doing my research.
So I said previously that I didn't want to continue the relationships because I knew I would have to convert to Islam, and I didn't want to do that. My Somali girlfriends would tell me about like their relationships with Somali guys, and they would be like, oh, Somali guys ain't shit and all this kind of stuff. But their moms would be married to their husbands, right? And their husbands had multiple wives, and their dads would be neglecting them, neglecting their other families, because they want to choose to be with their favorite wife, their favorite family, and then leave their moms to be basically single moms.
Here you have this sister talking about dating Somali men, and then her having an interaction with Somali women. These Somali women are warning her to not deal with these men because they like to go ahead and clap up a lot of cheeks and then get women pregnant and then not be there in the house with their women, but at the same time rotating to their different wives. I mean, they'll send money, but the woman will become a single mother. Woo! Now that's interesting because in the clip that we started the video off with, this is what these Somalis were preaching against with dealing with the Black American community.
Now, and shout out to O'Shea once again. This is important. And I think this is something, that we need to pay attention to, and the thing about it is while we mind our business and do what we do, maybe we should start paying attention to what's really happening, because once again, within our community, we talk about it. We talk about the degenerate behavior that some of these people are women and even men as well in our communities are doing and creating, and the single motherhood, rates are going up and how it's not beneficial to our communities. We speak about it in a way to kind of draw some type of accountability. At least I do, to show, to maybe give a different perspective and show these women, for the most part, that this is not a road that you have to take. Hey, we got to shape it up. We can do better because we did it before. We can do it again. And this is not all of us, but for the ones that it is, hey, maybe, something happened or you just don't get it, you weren't taught, for whatever reason. Hey, let me give you a different perspective. Let me show you that it doesn't have to be like this. We could do better. We are addressing it to hopefully get the attention of these people so they could change it. Because you look, to me, as long as you're alive, you can make a difference. You could change some things, change the behavior. Let's do better. It wasn't like this at first. But the problem with this is, and this goes to the whole image, the Black image, of Black women and Black men, why that is so important. Because it gives other people a leg to stand on, to pile on to what is happening within our community. And look at the way they address it, that this is all, they do the same thing, they don't know their fathers, when we know that's not the case for everybody. But when you start to get other people who look in at us and listen to what's going on and watch what's going on with us, they see it from either some reality TV or movies. I noticed they reference a lot of movies that they see, especially like people from Africa. They reference movies to say what our culture is like when they don't even know our history. They don't even know the history of this country and Black Americans. They really don't. And so, but they're chiming in based off of TV that they see and things that are being said, and they go off of that and they form a narrative, and then they just come over here and run with it and look at us as the bottom, when they know that they have a lot of the similar things happening within their communities. But they're not going to throw themselves under the bus. They're not going to start telling us. There's a few that do it, but they're not going to talk about their issues. They're going to point out issues everywhere else, and everybody does it. There are people in the white community that does. They point out what's happening in the Black community. Oh, Black people have the most crime. Black people have this. Black people have that. But then when you try to address the crime in their communities and what's happening, they shy away from it. It's like them protecting their own culture and community. They don't want to point out the degeneracy in their communities and their culture, because the narrative is to always, shit on Black people, always point out the worst in the Black community, always hype them up, always put them at they're the ones that we're going to talk about and focus on, and not ourselves, when we know that there's crime and there's all kinds of stuff happening. There's deadbeat dads in other communities. There are individuals in those communities who don't know their fathers, who weren't raised with them, never met them. We know all of the same things happen in their communities, if not more. But if we know that we're the ones that they want to dump everything on and just blame them because they whatever, they're going to continue to do it. And I think that should be more of an incentive for us to get back on track. You would think that. Wake up, realize, hey, we can't continue to be the punching bags. Let's get our shit together. Let's figure it out. Let's really give them something to talk about, which they're not going to want to talk about us. This is why talking about the positive things that's happening in the communities is not talked about. This is why it's not pushed, because you don't want to show that, because it will create a different narrative. If this is why it is so entrenched within us, within our community, within the women in our community, some of the women in our community who don't even want to see positive things when it comes to young Black men. Why? Because they have also adopted this idea that, oh, we're the worst, the men are the worst. They don't see themselves as worse. They see the men as worse. Let's keep shitting on the men. No matter what positive things they do, let's continue to make it seem negative. And let's keep on doing that, because we need to keep doing that for they don't even know why they're doing it. This is why the divide and conquer is so real. And this is why, that's why they do it, because they know if they can keep us divided, they can keep conquering us. They can use Black women to keep shitting on Black men and telling them they ain't nothing. And then everybody else outside of the community will do this. Well, just shit on all of us. Will say, oh, it's just a bad situation, when they have some of the same stuff going on. Somebody said it earlier, the pot calling the kettle black, right? Right. You got the same stuff happening in your communities, but everybody don't know about it. So let's hush on that, and let's continue to drag the Black Americans as if they're the only ones that are messing up. And that's why all of this with these Somalis and all these this fraud and all this is why a light has to be shined on it. This is why it has to be talked about, because it shows, listen, are we the worst or what? Or is everybody else just doing things and getting away with it? We can't get away with it. They can. And they're doing things that are much more detrimental than what we're doing, but we're looked at as the worst, and everybody hates us, but you don't see or pay attention or want to focus on what everybody else is doing. That's a problem to me. That is a problem. Bakesh Edwards, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Shout out to Bakesh Edwards for the super sticker. Make sure you guys are supporting in that way, y'all. Make sure you're supporting at least with a $5 super chat. I know y'all can handle $5. That is not a lot to ask for to support the channel, support the work, you guys. That definitely helps out. Thank you, Bakesh. I appreciate you so much for supporting the channel. Let's continue.
But you know what? It got even deeper than this.
Number 1, over 70% of Somali American children are raised by single mothers. In cities like Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Columbus, Ohio, Somali women are raising an entire household alone, not because they chose to, but because the father left. Some remarried, some returned to their home countries, and some just disappeared. In majority of these cases, no legal action or no financial responsibility has been enforced on them.
He's saying that 70% of these Somali kids are raised by their single moms. That's crazy, because the imam was talking about us having the same problem. Now, this is interesting to understand, because Somalis traditionally are Muslim, and they have strict rules about sex before marriage. There are strict rules and guidelines about this behavior. So ultimately, you would expect that this would not be happening with Somali Muslims. It's, they dress up in the garb and stuff like that. Right. Women are traditionally conventional. Now, I know that some of the Somalis in Minnesota, you have Eritreans in Seattle, and they could become Americanized, and things could, change. But ultimately, they're a conservative religion in which they don't participate, or at least on theory, shouldn't be participating in the same stuff that, let me just say it, us Christians are participating in. But that's not the case. They out here acting like the Baptists. Woo!
Right. Yeah, I mean, but that's what being hypocritical is, when you're hypocritical because you don't like another group and you don't focus on yourself when y'all are doing the same stuff. Divine Photos, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. Says, funny thing, those other races would say we don't have any culture. Exactly. But yet they copy FBAs in music, clothing, and other things they swear they hate. Exactly, Divine Photos. We talk about that as well. They're always quick to say that, but that's something that they've been told and they just run with it when we clearly see that they copy our lack of culture, so-called lack of culture. They copy it to a T. They copy the way we dress, everything, like the hip hop culture, all of this culture that we don't have. They do copy it. So yeah, it's just crazy. But it's it's just interesting to see. But as black Americans, we're not supposed to say anything. They want us to be quiet and just accept accept everything that they throw at us. Oh, we're the worst, we're the laziest, we're this, we're so that. Oh, let's just copy it all and just we take over and squeeze them out. That's what they want, which is great. Thank you, Divine Photos. I appreciate you so much. Let's continue.
Well, wait, there's more.
Number 2, divorce rates rising. Men face no consequence. Divorce rates in the Somali American communities spiked over the last 10 years. And when marriages breaks, the woman is left with the kids, while the man starts over with another family without accountability. And culturally, he's still respected, chill like that, while she is questioned, judged, silenced. No child support, no co-parenting. Number 3, community protects the men, isolates the woman.
He's saying that divorce rates are rising. It has spiked over the last 10 years. Now, this is interesting because typically Somalis coming into Columbus, Ohio or Minneapolis, Minnesota, you would think that because their community is tight-knit, that they would be staying together longer. But in fact, divorce rates are spiking. Now, that could be because Somali women are being influenced by the American culture. Their needs and desires can change. But he did mention something. He said that the man starts over with no accountability. He still gets respect while she is questioned, judged, and there is no co-parenting. And that matches what the lady said in the first clip. Now, these rates are rising possibly because of living in the new world. But the man starts over with no accountability. But what is the next thing?
While a divorced Somali man is still invited to weddings, to events, to the masjid boards. While the divorced Somali woman is treated like she failed, while she's doing everything. Work, paying rent, school runs, parenting, all alone. She becomes the mother and the father, and yet, culturally, she failed. And that she couldn't keep a man.
So again, he's continuing on the idea that men leave, women pay, the culture protects him. She's isolated. So she looks bad because she doesn't know how to keep a man. She's unsuccessful. Not him. It was him that was the problem. So he's able to still be invited to events. The woman is still being ostracized from the community. She failed and couldn't keep a man. Now, again, you don't really see Somali women out like that so much. I mean, you do see them in like Nairobi at like the coffee places, but they're always with their family or with the man. But once I understood that this was going on, I started finding interesting stuff.
I've never seen so many single women in my life, the Somali women. So many of them don't have husbands, looking, wanting, even some of them begging, oh my God, you're so handsome. And I tell them, I say, listen, I don't mess with Somali women because of this, this, and this. And they say, oh, please, brother, not all of us are like this. Please don't think this way. The ones that I send y'all messages where they've told me this, many messages.
You are a lie.
This brother is saying, listen, I see Somali women all the time on dating apps. they're begging to date men. Like, no, we're not like them. And again, I don't live in Minneapolis. I don't live in Columbus. But this is what brothers are saying. And then I started seeing things that were really interesting that I'd never seen before. Such as, look at this right here. Date off as a single mom. This is a Muslim lady. And, very attractive lady. She's, day off, brunch with the kids. I don't know where she lives. Now, some of these women could not live in Minneapolis. They could live in Europe. You see it, this lady here, age 38, name Fazia, status, single mom, right? We're seeing it all over again. Beautiful lady, just as a single mom. Then you have this lady here who is also very fine. This chick is Ismi Hafa, right? Somalian lady. I mean, again, fine.
So you guys get the point. One thing, O'Shea called everybody fine. I'm just saying. O'Shea be like, O'Shea, every time I listen to O'Shea be calling all the women fine. Every woman is fine to O'Shea. Lord have mercy. And some of them, not saying that to these women, some of these women, I be like, is she? O'Shea be calling everybody fine, y'all. I just noticed that. Every time. I just know, shout out to O'Shea. O'Shea called everybody fine. But anyway, y'all get the idea. The pot calling the kettle black. Everybody like to just blame black people for everything. No, we got our issues for sure, and we need to address the issues. But we are not the only ones with these issues, clearly. So it's gotta. If anything, the other groups of people need to start focusing on themselves and stop focusing on us. Let us focus on our issues. Y'all focus on y'all's. And address your issues and try to work on them, and not everybody pile on us like we're the only ones with these issues. That's the only thing I'm saying. And I'm just like, yeah, that has to stop as well. So their behavior and what they do needs to be called out, and we have to do it because everybody is looking to look at us in a negative way. And if we don't ever point it back, that's going to be the narrative as it's been for years. So, that's just what it is. Ezel Kinney, thank you so much for the support. Says African Americans don't exactly have the same problem because the statistics on us was about the number of unwed mothers, not single mothers. Right. I get what you're saying. So basically, the majority of the women in our communities are not married. Is that what you're saying, Ezel? Once again, African Americans don't exactly have the same problem because the statistics on us was about the number of unwed mothers, not single. Right. So a lot of those women in those cultures do get married, but they end up becoming single mothers. Within our communities, a lot of the women don't get married, and they have children out of wedlock, which still yield them single mothers, but they've never been married. I guess that's the point that you're trying to point out. Thank you once again for the support. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. So yeah, it's just crazy, y'all. A lot of people chimed in on this topic. A lot of people had a lot of things to say. Another clip I want to play really quick for you guys is of this woman, because this was something that kind of, oh my God, I was flabbergasted that the idea of people didn't realize that Black Americans were not immigrants. That's still one that's keep coming up. And I saw this clip of this woman, which I was just shocked that people still, they're having a hard time accepting that. They're having a hard time accepting that, Black Americans are not immigrants. And it's just funny to me because you would think that people would understand this, but you realize that a lot of people really don't. But check this out. Look,
video on here. Well, African girl is on here saying, "Oh, well, ICE is now deporting Black Americans. What if they gonna deport us too? They gonna deport me back to St. Louis where my daddy from? They want it to be us so bad. Right. They're not after us. See, we've been fighting these mother for generations and generations. They can't send us anywhere. Okay, it's nowhere for them to send us. This is our land just as much as it is theirs. We built this. Didn't you hear what Trump said? It's us. What y'all talking about? And truly, we was here before them. And then y'all want to get on here and talk about us. And then turn around and ask us to unite with you guys. If we probably going to unite with anybody, it'll probably be the Mexicans. Duh. And stop saying that I'm African. I'm not African. My ancestors are Cherokee and Choctaw Indians. You know, with the feathers. That's me. That's us. But it's okay. Y'all don't have to drag us into y'all. I mean, we get it. Trump is doing a damn fool on everybody. But at the end of the day, why y'all gotta pull us in it? They can't send us nowhere. Where they gonna send me to? Where is they gonna send us to? They gonna send my brother back to Chicago? I mean, what is going on?
Yeah, I just found that hilarious. I just thought that was another thing. But you know, it goes back to people saying, listen, they thought, when it was like when Donald Trump was saying, make America great again, and we're gonna take our country back. They thought that meant, let's get all the black people out of here. All these black Americans, they gotta go. And then they realized, no, people, that meant y'all. That meant a lot of you immigrants who came over here illegally, and just sitting here. No, and then they was crying and screaming like, come on, you didn't realize. You thought they was talking about black people. You thought black people, they was gonna haul us up out of here. And then, black people can't get deported? What? I was just like, wait a minute, y'all, this can't be real. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me that these people really thought that. I still, and it's funny that it's keep coming up, and I'm just still like, I was talking to my husband, like, could you imagine these people really was like, black people can't be deported? Like, really? They really, who told them? Like, they really thought we were immigrants. Like, I don't understand that. I was just like, oh God, no. Like, what in the world? Like, what? I didn't understand that part. Calvin Cook 6670, thank you for the super chat, said, everybody hates the black man, but everybody wants a black man. Right. Make that make sense. Hi, Dee and everybody. Hey, how are you, Calvin? I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for supporting. Yeah, it's true. It's like you hate the black man. You want to be like him. The women want him. But you really don't like him because to me it's low-key jealousy. I ain't gonna lie. It's low-key some jealousy. It's low-key, you wish you had what he had. You wish you had the swag or just the look of him. You just wish you embodied what black men have. That's what I think. Thank you, Calvin. I appreciate you. I think a lot of people want what black people have. You just don't want to be black. Same way they take our culture and take what we have, and you want to be the master at what we have, but you don't want to go through the things that we have to go through. You don't want to identify as us because we're looked at as the worst, but we have the best. You know what I mean? And it's like everything. And this is why I say black people, we have a lot of positives. We have a lot of great things about us, but a lot of us don't really see it because it's been stripped from us and we've been made to feel less than because of the way we've been treated as a whole. And so it kind of stripped us down some, and we got to get back to our roots and know who we are, because I think everybody else or a lot of other people know that there's something special about black people, and we could, and I think it's meant for us to take it and make us into a negative, but there are so many positives. But if you strip us away of our history and where we actually come from and what we're capable of, then it makes you think that you don't have it. And then people reverence other people and what they're doing and not realizing that you're capable of it yourself because we've done it before. And history shows that. But if you're not aware of that, or you're oblivious, or you're taken so far away from that, you don't know who you are. But everything that black people, the majority of the things that black people put their heart and soul into, it prospers. We can do so much, and then you see a lot of people don't like it. We look at sports. We dominate in sports. We dominate in so many things. Everything that we touch, we're great at it. And then other people are looking at, well, damn, I wish I had their talent and their stamina and their, all of the things that come with them. They wish they had it, and they thought that, and if you ever notice, this is why when you see like if there's a black contestant and a white one or a different race in something, and if the black person is excelling and it does better, they want to include the other one. I've watched this in so many contest shows and things where if a black person is clearly better, he can't just have that by himself. You got to include the other one. But when it's the other one, and if that person excels, the non-black one, oh, he stands alone with his accomplishment because he was so great. Oh, we just expected it. But when it's a black person that you don't want to see take the shine, who's clearly much better, they always want to like share the throne. You know, it's just a weird thing. It's a weird thing though. Classy, what's going on, Classy? Classy young man 35. Thank you so much for the support. Says this what happens when you come into a country you don't know ish about, the place you live in. Stupid MF. Exactly. They don't know the history, they don't care. You know, and so, but then you're shocked when stuff like this happens. Thank you, Classy. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. How are you? Thank you, Classy. Yeah, and it's just crazy. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy. But you know, this is why once again that divide and conquer thing is real. Divide us, that way you conquer us. The women don't like the men, you don't work with the man. You think you can independently go depend on the government and the white tea man and whoever else to help you when you really can't. Because they're not there for the right reasons to benefit. They're there to conquer. And once they divide and they've drawn a wedge between black men and black women so far, it's you can't repair it. Then they're gonna strike and show you what's real and how much they really care about you. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're left to your own devices, then now you're looking around where's to help. And this is unfortunately what we see happening right now. We're seeing it happen right now, where men are so separate and like saying, I don't want to deal with the women. And the women are left, and right now, you know, things aren't so bad. They think they can maintain and hold it down by themselves. And when they can, and they realize, damn, our white tea zaddy, as they would call it, that left us stranded, and the black man don't want to deal with us. Now, what are we gonna do? What is we gonna do? You know, it's like, what are we gonna do? We need help, you know, and it's unfortunate because it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. Avenge the Ancestors, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, thank you for all you do, Queen DeeDee. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you once again. Daryl, what's going on, Daryl? Daryl George 5859. Thank you for the super chat. Says, to the Somali people living in the U.S. who said they are not black, welcome to my world. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you for being here, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. Yeah, it's just crazy, you know. But they clearly like to separate themselves from Black Americans. But then I think it's weird to separate from somebody and then want their help. That's crazy to me. Thank you once again, Daryl. I appreciate you. That's just crazy to me, you know. And made it very clear that we're not black. We don't want to be associated with you. But oh, why aren't you guys? We thought you would support us. That makes me feel stupid. Like you're thinking I'm dumb. That makes me feel like you think I'm just dumb as hell. Like behind closed doors, you're saying, oh, they're so stupid. You know, you must think I'm a boo-boo the fool to say, you know, to clearly state how much you don't want to be associated with us and you're not us. But then to think we're just going to be foolish enough to just smile and be like, let's support our people. And it ain't, and y'all are clearly saying y'all are not our people. You must think I'm boo-boo the fool. That's what you're saying. They're insulting us to our faces. That's how I feel about it. You know? Let's move on to this. I got a couple more clips I want to share. Here we go.
Has to be one of the biggest political scandals in history, and the fact that nobody has been held accountable as of yet and nobody is in handcuffs is diabolical as hell of me. Ilhan Omar, how did you go from a $65,000 net worth just 3 years ago to a $30 million net worth just 3 years later? You have to make it make sense for me, because the math definitely is not mathing. At this point, it has to be the American people versus everybody, because the way that these people are just coming into our country and doing whatever the hell they want is not adding up to me. Y'all can say what y'all want, but if it was not for Trump, I do not feel like a lot of this fraud would even be coming to the forefront. And What's crazy to me is the fact that so many people are still rooting for and still campaigning for a Walz and Harris run. Let me tell y'all, if them two would have gotten in office, you think it would have been 8 billion? Baby, it would have been 80 billion. Trust me when I'm telling you. In my opinion, enough people are not angry enough, and enough people definitely ain't in damn handcuffs. I don't know what the hell is going to Minnesota, but it needs to be corrected, effective immediately.
Yeah, no lies detected. She's absolutely right. She's
Come
absolutely
see
right.
Columbus, Ohio, fraud investigators. If you go to the government assisted housing areas, you will find that most of the housing is Somalians. I would say about 80% of the government assisted housing in Columbus is occupied by Somalians. And the parking lot is occupied with a whole bunch of brand new cars. And the women walking around have designer purses with EBT cards, and they have Apple iPhones stuck up in their hijabs. Yeah. And then go to the businesses that are owned by the men. Because see, what happens is when you have a restaurant or when you have a little corner store and you have a couple of wives and you only have to claim one, then that means the other wives get EBT cards. And you can use those EBT cards to buy food for your store or your restaurant. Yeah. Or what you can do is you can get a home health aid company. And then you only hire Somalians to work the home health aid. And what you do is you just make sure their paperwork looks right. It don't have to be right, but you just make sure it looks right. And then you send them off for those home health aid jobs. Y'all don't want to talk about fraud.
Baby, listen, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised one bit. It's a lot going on, trust me. Calvin Cook 6670, thank you once again, says even black men that date outside the race still miss a black woman. Don't get it twisted. Ain't no love like black love. Remember that, sisters. Child. Thank you, Calvin Cook. I appreciate you once again. Yeah, and I just think I think we all could agree to that and know that. It's the mentality that people are tired of. I think men in particular want to have something a little bit more softer, a woman that at least could be cooperative. Nobody's going to be perfect. This is what I say all the time. People are flawed, but at least it could be flaws in a minimalistic way. You know what I mean? Like flawed in a way that's not detrimental to your well-being, you know what I mean? To your peace of mind. You at least want somebody that could at least be peaceful, maybe she a little cuckoo, but she's not. She know how to. It's tamed. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody at least want to be there and want to be there with you and work with you, not somebody that's combating you the whole way and going against you every minute. No, I don't think nobody should have to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So that I think that becomes more of the issue, and I don't think anybody in their right mind want to deal with something like that. You know what I'm saying? Here's another clip.
To all the Somalians who are posting video claiming that Minnesota was promised to you 3,000 years ago, that would put you back 1000 BC. You guys have an entire synopsis of where the word Minnesota derived from. How about you explain to the American people how you were promised Minnesota that never existed then to your people? Because 3,000 years ago puts you 1,000 before Christ. Given that y'all got free education, free housing, free food, free internet, may you explain to the rest of the world how you were promised Minnesota when there was no Minnesota then. Hell, Christopher Columbus didn't even find America yet. So how are you promised Minnesota 3,000 years ago? It's a legit question.
Yeah, they just trolling. And they think they could just say anything and people just gonna believe it, People just gonna believe it. Oh, this is, whatever. It's a lot of it is just foolishness. And it is what it is. Let's continue, y'all.
Y'all got me back on here on Beyonce's good internet because these Somalians is out here clowning up there in Minnesota. Y'all have been trained not to like black people. Why come whatever goes wrong in these immigrants' lives, it turns to black people? We're minding our business. This is our country. This is where we grew up at. This is where we live at. You came here. We didn't go there. And let me say this to you Somalians real quick. Y'all came over here as refugees, claiming asylum because you was scared you was going to be persecuted and killed in your own country. That's called a fucking coward. Because black people in America endured the civil rights movement, endured being persecuted and hung and killed and blown up. Black people in America, the slaves fought in the Civil War. Black people were forced to go to Vietnam, World War II, World War I, whatever the case may be. We showed up and we fought. We didn't have a country to run to and say, ooh, we scared. I need asylum. We stayed and fought. Our ancestors, our grandparents, and our great-grandparents crawled so you could come here and walk. Then you come here and reap the fucking benefits of our community and talk shit about us and call us lazy and say we jealous of you. And we ain't jealous. We're not jealous. Why don't you take your coward ass back across the ocean where you came from and fight to save your own country? Because you come here shaking, scared, I can't go back. You got ran out of your fucking country. We did not run. We stayed and fought. There is a difference. There is a difference. But my question to some of y'all is this, and especially Somalian people, that man called you garbage. He called you garbage. Said y'all was worthless and useless. He told Latino, Hispanic people, you're murderers, criminals, and rapists. Okay? He told Haitian communities and African communities, y'all have shithole countries. Accuse Haitians of eating animals, yet y'all stand behind them because you hate us so much. You stand behind them and tap dance and voted for him anyway. And then when the shit don't work out, instead of getting mad at him, you mad at us. We live here. We ain't did nothing. All we did was told y'all, don't trust them. We have 500 years of history behind people like him, and you should not be trusting that. But you wanted to assimilate to that side so bad that you just bypass, oh, don't listen to them lazy niggas. They ain't nothing but thugs and this and that and that. Telling us, who was the guy in the mosque telling y'all we don't know who our fathers are? I knew who my father was till the day he rested in the grave, till we laid him to rest. And he was married to my mom, and there were 7 children out of that marriage. What are y'all talking about? Y'all believe any negative stereotype they put against us just to believe it. That is not true. My father fought in a segregated army. So you can come here and talk shit about me and my people and call us lazy and jealous of y'all. If we don't want to go pick potatoes out of a farmer's field or wash pots and pans in a restaurant or stand 12 hours on a factory assembly line, we ain't got to. Our forefathers and ancestors done that for us already. We don't have to stand up for 12 hours if we choose not to. Maybe we'll lay around and collect a Section 8 check or food stamps. I don't give a shit. You, on the other hand, scamming our government with the autism scams, scamming our government with the feed the children scam. You talking about we jealous of you living in mansions and cars, and you're taking our taxpayer dollars and doing that. So how hard are you actually working? You working hard to scam?
Right.
I'm just confused why we are the enemy, public enemy number 1 to you immigrants. But if you look at the country, the white men are running Supreme Court. The white man is running Congress. The white man is running the Senate. The white man is running every part of government in some of the local places. The school boards, the mayor, the governors, all of this shit. But when shit go wrong, y'all come at us like we done something. We ain't in charge. The only thing y'all have a problem with is we're not jealous of y'all. Y'all jealous of us. You jealous of us because it's not affecting us. It's not affecting us because we prepared for it. We've been dealing with this shit for over 400 years. We know how it goes. So we've already physically and mentally prepared for the bullshit. Y'all just getting a taste of what we've already been through. See all the hatred going towards y'all, calling y'all names and racist comments and all of that shit. They did that to us in the 60s. We're used to it. You can call me Nick all day. I don't care. You can call me any racial toad you want. Just make sure you stay out of my space and you stay out of my face. That's it. I don't care what you say. Doesn't affect me because I don't have an identity crisis. I know exactly who I am. Keep your hands to yourself and stay out of my area and my space, and we good. Y'all are now being treated like we were treated back in the 50s and the 60s and the 40s, and y'all don't like it. The difference is we didn't have any person to blame, but
Right.
y'all trying to blame us for the way y'all being treated today. That's a damn shame. In Minnesota, ain't that where George Floyd died? Were you Somalis out there protesting and marching when George Floyd was down there
They
laying
said
on the
it
ground
was.
with his knee on his
I
neck?
didn't see him.
Was y'all protesting for him or was that black folks?
Mm.
Where were y'all at? Oh, y'all still over there scamming the kids for the food thing.
Mm.
Yeah, just again, as I always end my commentary, November the 5th, 2024, you had a choice. And you made that choice. You could have voted for the black Indian lady, black Indian Jamaican lady. But no, that's not what you did. And I know why you didn't vote for her. To be honest, it had nothing to do with her race. It had to do with, as a Muslim, you cannot vote for a woman to lead shit. Be honest about that. And again, this is no disrespect to Muslims. This is no disrespect to Somalians who aren't thinking in this way. This is to the ones who think they got it all figured out and don't like black people for whatever reason. And I say to you, like I always say, in the words of that great poet, Glorilla, let them cook. May you have the day you voted for.
Okay, what's your thoughts on what she had to say? Listen, I mean, do you think if that Kamala would have got in, it would have been any better? Do you think it would have been any better if Kamala had won? Do y'all think it would be this would be a whole different story, or will we have other issues? What's your thoughts on that? Let me know in the chat. Deacon Weasel, thank you so much for the super chat. Says she cooking. Thank you for the support. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Catch Club. Is it Gorilla Grip Catch Club? Thank you for the super chat. Says Somalis claim to not be black, but have members in the Black Caucus. Right. Exactly. I mean, look, child. A lot of people don't want to be black, but you want to receive benefits off of black people. Nobody wants to be black, but a lot of those people who come over here as immigrants benefit from programs that should benefit black people. So I'm not surprised. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Yeah, this is just crazy. If Kamala became president, we would have been screwed. I don't agree with voting for the black Indian woman. She was a terrible candidate. Somebody said hell no, and somebody said, and then Deacon Weasel said also it would be worse. So yeah, this is just one of those things, y'all, that I just had to give my 2 cents on, because I just think it's just crazy, and we're sitting here witnessing all of this, and we're watching it all unfold, and what else is going to unfold is my question. Like what else is going to come of all of this? We see a lot of these people, some of them are deporting themselves. We see a lot of people getting deported. They've arrested people for these scams and fraudulent cases. But is more going to come out of it, is what I'm wondering. Is there more that's going to be exposed in all of this? Because I know this is not the only incident. I know it's not. I know there's more. But will this, pull the lid off of more scams and fraudulent things that are happening amongst immigrant, people immigrating here? What else is going on? Because once again, I don't believe that these people were able to amass $1 billion, or still $1 billion, and the government didn't know. How could you not know? Like somebody had to know somebody had to know what was going on and just didn't say anything. Because once again, as Americans, we can't do that without getting caught. There's so many crimes that are committed in fraudulent cases, and they end up getting caught. It doesn't take that long for them to get caught. So if you don't want to catch somebody, then you're not going to catch them. And at some point though, it ends up exposing itself, and then it's forced to be looked at. But it's just one of those things. But once again, I will say this, in wrapping this up, it's not our fault. Black Americans, we have nothing to do with these immigrants coming here and doing and committing crime and fraud. We have nothing to do with that. We minding our Black American business. We just trying to live our lives and take care of our families. We're not out here. We have nothing to do with any immigrants who come here and steal and rob and do whatever they do. That ain't a part of us. And I also want to state that, listen, yes, we talk about the issues in our communities as we should, being a part of the community, but it doesn't mean that we're the worst of the worst and we are the only ones with problems when we are not. As we clearly can see, there are other all groups have their problems, and we see it with the Somalis, the Africans, Asians, Indians, whites. Everybody got their issues. So if everybody will focus on their issues and their groups and what they're doing, and y'all try to fix that, we need to try to fix our issues. We can no longer focus on everybody else, but focus on our communities and try to work to help our communities and better our communities for our sake. Because nobody else is going to do it. They're going to continue to do what they do, whether it's pillage, rob, whatever they do, and then still label us as the worst. No, we have to do something. This is why I say the Black image is important. How we educate ourselves is important. How we present ourselves, what we do, how we collectively come together to benefit each other. That could help. Whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know. But we need to start focusing on ourselves and not everybody else and what everybody else is doing. Because what they're doing is, it doesn't matter. We got to focus on us because they're not worried about us. They're only trying to continue this narrative that we're the worst so they can continue to get away with what they're doing. So that's my 2 cents on this, you guys. I wanted to bring it up here. Shout out to everybody in the building, everybody who is been a part of this live stream. Thank y'all so much for supporting. Shout out to everybody who gave super chats or cash app to support the channel. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out, you guys. Also, if you have not supported the channel by subscribing to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It is free to subscribe, share, and like the video. Turn on your notification bell so that you'll always be notified when I upload new content, y'all. Also, if you want to support my merchandise, I do have the new t-shirts that you guys asked for. I do have them available. So if you want to get your Pick Me Nation t-shirt, the link is in the description. If you want to get your Winter is Here t-shirt or mug, or go ahead and click the link in the description. And I also have Who You Want Gotta Want You t-shirts available as well. So make sure you guys go and support that. All right. So thank y'all once again for being here. Shout out to everybody in the building. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank y'all so much once again. Stay tuned for more. I will be back really, really soon. Make sure you enjoy the rest of your evening. I love you guys. Y'all be safe out here in these streets, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah. Later.
It's DeeDeesReactions. DeeDeesReactions. I hope you enjoy the show. Like, share, subscribe. You know it's a vibe. Like, share, subscribe. 'Cause you know it's a vibe. It's DeeDeesReactions. Tell a friend, tell a friend. It's DeeDeesReactions. It's DeeDeesReactions. DeeDeesReactions. Later. 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 It's DeeDeesReactions. DeeDeesReactions. I hope you enjoy the show. Like, share, subscribe. You know it's a vibe. Like, share, subscribe. 'Cause you know it's a vibe. It's DeeDeesReactions. Tell a friend, tell a friend. It's DeeDeesReactions. It's DeeDeesReactions. DeeDeesReactions. Later.